morning, beautiful people. Today we are talking about the reigning Lorelai. Grab your coffee and let's get started. If you're out on the road. Lorelai Gilmore is one of those characters that no matter the year when you look back on it, she still has so many layers and interests, and she's still so witty. I can always find something new and funny and quirky about Lorelai. And the way I want to do this is dive through certain different topics in her life. I want to look at her as a mother, daughter, as a business person, her romantic life, and then her as a friend. If you like personality quizzes and things like that, in the Enneagram, Lorelai is a 7-wing 8. And then in the Myers-Briggs, she's an ENFP, which actually I'm an ENFP, but I am not a 7. Now for our first deep dive, let's look into Lorelai as a daughter. The way that they wrote Lorelai and the way that Lauren Graham portrays her, I think is a very real and honest depiction of what a scenario like that could be like. Meaning, Lorelai gets pregnant at 16, doesn't want to get married to Christopher. Her parents want her to get married to Christopher. And then because she feels suffocated by her parents and by that world in general, she leaves. And that causes definite friction in the relationship throughout the entire series. But what is Lorelai's part in that? Lorelai takes things very personally. She's headstrong, she's very extroverted, she always wants to connect with people and do things and go. And her parents have specific ways in which she should be doing that. And 99% of the time, I would say she doesn't do it the way that they would prefer she do it.
No matter what has happened to me my entire life, you've never been happy for me, and that hurts. Mom, it really hurts.
I'm not discussing this with you.
Dad, do you know?
No, I don't know. Possibly very similar to finding out from a complete stranger that my only daughter was getting married and had told every other person in the world before she bothered to tell her own mother. Possibly it felt something like that.
Among the strife and conflict and difficult times that her and her parents have, they definitely have some really good moments as well. I love the vicious trollop episode, and you can see that Lorelai and Emily are connecting through that, but there's always something kind of under the surface. That's because they haven't really fully talked about in a calm and meaningful way the hurts that they have in the past. In my opinion, one of the sweetest moments between Lorelai and her parents is in the final episode when you can see that Emily's figuring out a way to have Lorelai still come for Friday night dinners, and she's trying to not lose that aspect of their relationship because, I mean, you can arguably say this is the closest that they've been in Lorelai's entire life, and she doesn't want to lose that just because Rory is moving on with a new stage in her life and there's no reason to come to Friday night dinners. And Lauren Graham, I think, portrays that perfectly through Lorelai, basically saying we can talk about it this Friday. And you can just see the relief on Emily's face. And I think that bow on the end of it, I think, is really, really nice.
It takes a remarkable person to inspire all of this.
Thanks, Dad.
Now let's talk about Lorelai as a mother. Lorelai from the age of 16 on changes from being a teenager to a mother, really. She is focused on having a place for Rory to grow up and what that environment looks like, kind of changing that environment from what she had growing up. She doesn't want to do that same type of hurt that her and her mother have. But I think also it shows the way that Lorelai really clicked into Rory as a person. Now later on in the series, you can kind of take what you will from the Rory's character development, but I think up until the point where Rory leaves, Lorelai has done all that she can to have her be rounded and a whole person and figuring out who she is outside of specific expectations.
There you go.
Now this goes a little bit into Lorelai kind of as a townsperson as well, but when it comes to her daughter, she is connected in the community. She is always volunteering for things. She's allowing her to figure out and writing, and if she wants to do that, she's inspiring her to reach for the Ivy League if that's what she wants to do. And then when Rory, that is, changes what she wants to do for the Ivy League, as long as it's what Rory wants to do, Lorelai is behind it. And I think that's another reason why when Rory quits for a period of time and not period of time, when she's figuring out college and if she wants to go back, you can see how Lorelai, having fought through her whole life of expectations and what she should and shouldn't do, and just saying, no, I can do this, having that hit Rory, just the one time, and Rory taking that so hard to heart, you can tell how frustrated she is, and no, you can't let one person's opinion change your direction of life. If you want to do that, you have to go for it. And if you change your mind, that's different than somebody telling you, no, you can't do that, and just stopping because of that.
Hey, y'all, remember when I realized that I didn't have my mic on the whole time? We're just going from here. Lorelai as a friend. I think one of the best aspects is the whimsy and humor and just the fun that she brings to all the friendships that she's in. With Suki, she allows her to be creative and go do her thing.
You will marry Sean Cassidy and cheat with David. Well, good for me.
With Michelle, they have their meeting strategy session that they have where she allows them to eat cake and feel guiltless about eating that cake. Obviously with Luke, she brings just the fun and the quirkiness and just those aspects out of people in friendships that she has.
I'm grumpy about stuff, but I don't want you to be.
Careful.
I'm being careful.
On the townsperson side of things, even with people like Taylor who are just their own little breed of human, she has humor and she'll deflect in the best way of saying that different remarks that to somebody else would be so annoying, but she just deflects them and brings a lightness to town meetings and brings her candies, and it's just a fun show and a warming show to watch. We have one of my favorite aspects of Lorelai, but first a sip of coffee. Hold please. Lorelai as a business owner, even for the fact that I worked in hospitality for like 7 years in hotels specifically, and I just love the way that she interacts with people in a hospitality setting. My biggest critique on Lorelai in the hospitality world is obviously the amount of time that she works. Now, once she has her own business, eventually you can get to a place, and I mean, I guess in theory that's pretty much the goal, to get to a place that you just hire really good people and you kind of become the like Mia in the situation. But in the first few seasons, she would have worked so much. And I get that they want you to see the full aspect and range of everything. But if you're that high up, again, it's a smaller town, so that could have an aspect of it as well. I mainly worked in pretty large cities, but the amount that I have worked weekly versus the amount that Lorelai worked weekly is a little bit different.
This is a jumbo coffee morning. I need coffee and an IV.
My favorite aspect of Lorelai as a business owner is just the passion that she has in what she does. It's just so much fun to watch. I love the sleeping with the zucchinis when she realizes they're going way too far down, like the rabbit hole of being so detailed on everything and want everything to be perfect before the opening of the inn, that she takes something off of everybody's plate. I love the phone calls that we see. I feel like more in the first few seasons of Lorelai and vendors talking, and she just like makes a joke about sending a Christmas card their way because they got her this or that, or she'll talk about she's doing inventory. Those are all real things that happens. You talk to your vendors, or something doesn't show up, or the linen's not there, and you just have to communicate with people. I love the inn environment. I love all of the events that they do. I love just how immersive she is in it. I think she and Suki ground each other really well. I think Michelle is hysterical at the front desk, and some people at the front desk are really like that, and I think that that's just funny. And now we get to the romantic relationship side of Lorelai. I do love Lorelai, but Lorelai in relationships, I do not love, like 90% of the time. I think that, personally, I feel like Max deserved better. I don't think you should just bolt on somebody. I think that her and Luke had a lot of communication issues, not all on her side, obviously, with like Luke's daughter and that whole scenario there. I just feel like she tries so hard to solve problems before they happen or not rock a boat in a bad way that she ends up sabotaging herself way more often than she would if she would just say, hey, this is what's going on. Here's what happened. I haven't talked about Christopher yet. That whole freaking Paris. You know what I'm saying? Paris the place, not Paris the person. I think she's actually pretty good in connection with Paris. Like, I feel like she's kind of like a good role model for Paris. Another sidestep. But in romantic relationships, homegirl has a lot to improve. Again, I feel like the best aspect of her in relationships is the enjoyment of life that she has. I think that that's one of the reasons why even like Digger is drawn to her, because she's just so fun. And even if life gets hard, she doesn't let it really bog her down. She just finds a way to create a solution. And that type of a person is just a really intriguing person and a person you want to get to know more. And she's not just one facet. She's not not just the business owner, just the mom, just the XYZ, but she has all of these characteristics combined, which is great in a partner of having somebody that obviously is like multi-layered, but she just does so many things. Like the ultimatum to Luke. Do not love. I get her frustration. Don't love the response. Why didn't you go home and eat some ice cream and cry? That's what you should have done. We've all been there when you're frustrated, but you eat some ice cream and you cry. That's what you do. That's about that. I mean, I love her. I think her and Luke are great together. I feel like he gives her a lot of grounding that she needs, even though she grounds some other characters, but I think he's just a solid person in her life. And I mean, she writes the note about like how he'll always be in her life even when they aren't romantically involved. But girl, that's it. I would call that Lorelai 101, Lorelai 201. Like, subscribe and like things. And I have a lot of other Gilmore Girls videos because I talk about that a lot because I still love it. There's some others if you want to watch those. Okay, I hope you have a great day.